Lucy Polgar from Last Bastion, sponsored by Fight Division. I'm here with the legendary coach, Pat Barrett. Very successful night for you tonight. You've had two fighters in there, Niall Brown and Lyndon. Both come away with a win. You must be happy.
Yeah, it was. It was also very, I can say, a very impressionable night as well. Watching them both perform, especially with Lyndon, meant to be fighting for the world title. Yeah. Then he's fighting a 10-rounder. I mean, fair dues to his opponent, Boris Kreisel. Took it on late notice. What a warrior he was. But for some reason, I knew that Boris Kreisel came here with everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. So in one of your recent interviews, you said that you wanted Lyndon to basically be able to show that he was more than just knockouts. You wanted him to show his class, his ability, and obviously going the distance tonight and just working that jab. I think he really, really did that. So happy that it went the distance.
Well, look at it this way. I can take two things from it. Lyndon's had another run out before he's fighting for the world title again. Yeah. He'll learn something more about himself, and I'll learn a lot more as well. So in this game, you're always learning. So, I'm not disappointed, not at all, because when you've been up for it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you've been in the training camp for a world title fight, and then you're getting something else that's a bit of a level step down, and you're still trying to be up there, it's hard. Yeah. I've been through that myself, so I do know what it's like. You know, that mentality kind of drops a little bit. So.
Yeah, definitely, and understandably. So, leading up to the fights, Lyndon said before, like, he does watch some of his opponents, he'll watch the work and, try and sort of, like, figure out the style. Had you done that in preparation for the other fighter and then obviously a last-minute drop, does that change anything?
Well, there wasn't really much to change about Lyndon with his boxing ability. He just had to adjust a little bit, do what he was doing and walk him onto that right hand. And I think because of the guy who was working on that punch with was a lot taller, it was very hard and he was awkward, this Boris. He was sitting back, so you couldn't really fold the right hand unless he was going to fall off balance.
Yeah, definitely. So even though, obviously, if he was supposed to be for the world title fight and then the opponent, obviously there was a change, but again, in one of your interviews, you said that you treat every fight as though it's a world title fight. So basically, no matter what happens, you both had that mindset going in. Every fight's a world title fight. You take them all as seriously as each other. Yeah,
100%. If we didn't, and Lyndon would have dropped down a peg, it was hard to keep motivating him, telling him to stay focused, come on now, stay on it. It was very hard, but he did it. And if you notice, then I think it was the 9th or the 10th round when he landed that right hand. I mean, that punch was there all night. It was just a question of finding it, and it was hard to find it when you trained for it for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, stylistically, it was hard. So we struggled, or he struggled, trying to find that right hand. And when he did find it, and it did land it, you see the damage that it caused.
Absolutely. So that's another thing as well. In the gym, Lyndon said that he's always been a sponge, and he's very happy to listen and learn. So I think maybe, do you think that's what happened in the rounds? Obviously, just spent the earlier rounds trying to just be a sponge and learn the distance and learn when he can sort of time it. And then obviously when it did land, it was beautiful.
It's going to make me saying this. Lyndon is like Man City, okay? When they play against an average team, they just come down to their level.
Yeah.
When they play a better team, they can turn it on. And I think that's the same with Lyndon. When he said, we slow him. He said a lot of things about him in the corner. And I said, well, if he's slow, and because he was thinking that and he was cruising it, you know what I mean? And he should have picked it up when I think he should have just picked it up as he did. Because I think somebody came over and said, Lyndon, the scoring this level, and Lyndon looked at me and said, yeah, and I thought he was winning every round, but then I think it was from the 8th round he switched on a bit, and 8th and 9th, 10th, he started looking for that right hand a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. We were saying the same watching up here. You could see a very clear change in something just changed. His shoulders moved, and it was all right, he's switched on now. One thing that I love about you is that you're very focused on the present. So when people have spoke about past fights, say we're not interested in that right now, and then obviously when people are constantly saying, what next, you were just saying, let's just get to Friday, let's see what happens. Is that a mindset you've sort of developed over time, learning not to take on too much, or have you always had the mindset of we deal with right now?
No, I mean, there's no point in looking ahead. That's with anything in life.
Yeah.
I think you have to deal with what is today and think about tomorrow when it comes into tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the way I've always been, I suppose.
Yeah. No, it's the perfect mindset, and it's not taking on too much, it's not reflecting too much, it's just being where you are, which is absolutely necessary. So just before we let you go, we want to talk about a little bit the connection between you and Lyndon is so much deeper than just like coach and fighter. Does that help or hinder when you're training with each other? Like sometimes, like does he listen to you as much as if it was just coach?
I think sometimes it can more hinder than it can help because as they're growing up, they seem to have their own ways and, like I said, become men. And they want to do things their way. Well, in my eyes, it's still only one way we do things. It's like living at home. If you live at home, you have to respect the rules and the regulations, and that's what you have to do. And under my roof, you have to do what I think you should do. I'll listen to you, and I am flexible to make changes, but you're not telling me what to do. I don't work for you. And bear this in mind, because you're paying me, you're not paying me anything that you don't owe me, something kind of thing. So I bought them up. Yeah. They've not brought me through the door. Yeah. So I'm not going to be like, if it does come to that, somewhere down the line, you've got to have control of your own house. Yeah, definitely. And you can feel that as well. Like they definitely do respect you. And I've seen a couple of the videos. You do have a good laugh as well. I saw a video recently. There was a guy, I think it was from about a year ago, forgot his gum shield, and you were saying you was going to put an orange in and do it the old school way. I love watching those ones. You can see that they have got a real respect for you, but you do still have that banter with them as well. So just lastly before we go, I just want to quickly touch on Niall. He did a really good performance, really solid fighter. How did you think that was going? Because obviously the first round, it looked like he got wobbled a little bit at the end, but then in the third he dropped him. So, very close fight for some of it. It was very action-packed. You know what? It's what we need. It's what I need for Niall, and it's what Niall needs for himself. Because to know where the fight is going to go today. Yeah. This Bador, I call him the Iranian Rocky. The reason why I call him that because he reminds me of Rocky Marciano. He's a tough middleweight, and every fight I've seen him in have been close fights where you can argue with the decision. Yeah, and I think he can still make a career now because he's a lot better than what his record says. Yeah. So, for me, when I watched the fight, when he boxed Niall, I was thinking, should I take this fight? And this fight I was having on my show. Because I got the chance to get Niall out on the same card as Lyndon, I thought I kept the same opponent because it would be a good fight for TV, it would be a good fight for Niall, and it will really see where he's at under pressure. And I thought, where credit was due, he won the fight, and it wasn't like it was a close fight. Yes, he did get wobbled, and I think it was the end of the first round. Yeah. But then dropped him in the third. But then, and then he come about. But it's, again, what a lot of people don't know about Niall, he's not had no amateur experience. He's come from Muay Thai, a different combat sport to the boxing. So there's a lot of mistakes that Niall makes that we have to work on. There's a lot of things that I see now that we need to make it more tighten up. Yeah. So now Niall will start listening to me now. That's happened because sometimes with Niall, as I've told him before, there's no such thing as a cool boxer. And when he does things, he does it very relaxed, very calm. And you can't do that. You've got to be really switched on. And now I can sit him down, watch that fight, and I can point out a million things what he did wrong. Never mind what he did right, everything what he did wrong.
It's all about the improvement and moving forward. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for chatting to us and giving me time. Very successful night for you. Obviously, Friday night, I hope you go and get a great celebration. Thank you very much for chatting to us. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Here we go.